Bill's Media and the Arts podcast, where I talk about music, movies, and books, and I bring you the content the most want, and interviews, and etc. So check out Bill's Media and the Art podcast for your media needs. Welcome to Wild Bill's Media and the Arts podcast. This is episode 2 in my music series here. Today we're going to be talking about Megadeth's upcoming album, The Sick, the Dying, and Dead, released Friday, September the 2nd. I don't know about you guys, but I have been a huge Megadeth fan for a lot of years. Back when, even when I think it was unpopular to be a Megadeth fan. Megadeth has just been one of the big four bands in the thrash metal scene for years. They're underrated. They get a lot of heat from Metallica fans. They get a lot of heat from a lot of people just because of Dave Mustaine being a former member of Metallica. But I'm not going down that road. But Megadeth has been a staple in the metal community for a lot of years. Dave Mustaine has put out some of the most monumental albums with Megadeth, and maybe in all of metal music. This considered one of them, being one of their greats. Megadeth's Countdown to Extinction. I think for me, this is the most anticipated album of all year that I've been waiting on. Ever since I heard Megadeth was coming out with a new album. I know originally it was supposed to be released this month sometime, but it got pushed back for reasons why I do not know. But I do know that there's going to be 3 different releases of the album. There's going to be a vinyl, a CD, and cassette. And there's actually going to be a special vinyl set that's coming out on Megadeth's website. It actually comes with a 7-inch single for their first single release there, Will Be Back. So go check that out at Megadeth.com. I have heard the title track, or not the title track, but the first single they released, Will Be Back. And it is just slamming metal. It is so good. It is Dave at his best, Megadeth at their best. And they just dropped a new song yesterday called Night Stalkers, which is really good too. This album kind of reminds me of Dystopia a lot, maybe even harder than Dystopia, maybe even faster than Dystopia at times. I believe if you were a Megadeth fan and you enjoyed the album Dystopia, you will love the new record. The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead makes up 12 tracks that start with the title track, The Sick, Dying, and the Dead. Track number 2 is Life in Hell. Track number 3 is Night Stalkers. Track number 4, Dogs of Chernobyl. Track number 5 is Sacrifice. Track number 6 is Junkie. Number 7 is Psychopathy. Number 8 is Killing Time. Number 9 is Soldier On. 10 is Cellubunate. 11 is Mission to Mars, and 12 is Will Be Back, the first single they released. Now, I remember back here a little while back, Dave was talking about, he thought that the first single they were going to drop was called Killing Time. I don't know why that changed. Maybe they thought that the song Will Be Back would be a better single release. But I do know it's killer. There's a video out for it. There's also a video out for the new one, Night Stalkers. I'm going to share with you the album cover here. And this cover is just so give me just a second here. It almost kind of has a post-apocalyptic spaghetti western feel to it. And you'll understand the cover when I show it to you. It's almost like it's a updated version of So Far So Good So What. And if, like I said, if you have followed Megadeth in your career, you'll understand what I'm talking about. This is the album cover. Megadeth's The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead. And you see what I'm saying? Like back here, you got these guys. Let's see if I can blow this up a little bit. Okay. Let's get into the imagery. If you look back here, look like these guys are kind of wearing cowboy hats. They have like a wagon, look like might be picking up dead bodies and stuff. So it almost kind of reminds you of the like a plague has hit, but it's like it's during Western times, maybe even before then. Oh, wait, it would had to be during Western times because he has a gun right here on the scene. So it's almost like a plague has ravaged like some Western town, which is really cool looking. Or maybe it's not a Western town. It could be anywhere in the world. But when you look at the hats, they almost look cowboy esque, kind of like. But they could also just be, a style of hats people wearing in that type of area in the country or whatever. But I am just so can't wait for this record to come out. I have been waiting for the new Megadeth release for a while. I mean, it just because, like I said, I've been a huge Megadeth fan for a lot of years, and I've always supported Dave Mustaine and Megadeth when I could. But Dave has always put out good music. He's always, I mean, they've had a few albums here and there where, you kind of think, I don't know. But I think all artists have those in their catalog once in a while. But to kind of give you an update of what's coming out, at least on the Megadeth website. Now, I know you can grab this album on Amazon too. Okay, so you've got the vinyl release here. Got the vinyl release here of that little box set I was telling you about that comes with a 7-inch. And then you've got just a standalone vinyl, and you got the CD. And then you've got the cassette tape that's coming out on. And then you got the different shirts here. You got a short sleeve, long sleeve, another short sleeve here. And you also have the digital album for $10. That's on the Megadeth website. And I don't know if there's any other websites that's going to be carrying this that might have like a splatter color vinyl or anything like that. I haven't researched it a whole lot. But I do know that it is available on Amazon on cassette, CD, and vinyl. Now, Megadeth, I watched an interview the other day with Dave Mustaine, and one of the reasons why it took this album so long to come out is because, well, they released Dystopia in 2016. They went on tour for it, I think, about 2 year cycle, something like that, between albums, they said. Then the pandemic hit, so that halted everything. And then, basically by the time they got back to work and everything, they recorded the album. Then they had that falling out thing with David Ellefson, and they had to go back and record bass tracks and all that stuff. And then the album has just got pushed back. But while we're here, which I am basically talking about the sick, the dying, and the dead, but I will go ahead and I will talk about the elephant in the room, which is the departure of David Ellefson. Now, for those of you who do not know or have kept up with Megadeth over the years, Dave Mustaine and David Ellefson was pretty much the two founding members of Megadeth. They, Dave and Dave pretty much have had a pretty tenuous relationship in Megadeth over the years. There's been some in and out between both of them and everything. There was a time when Dave left the band and he was going to leave everything to David Ellefson. Then Dave Mustaine come back. Just a bunch of stuff that's happened over the years that has led to, I think what they said was already a strained relationship after all this allegations of this sexual misconduct thing that kind of come out with David Ellefson, where he was recorded, I guess, I don't know, doing some inappropriate stuff on a video call he had with a woman who was of age and consenting or whatever. And it led to this big thing, and eventually Megadeth just fired David Ellefson out of the band and hired James Lomenzo to come in and re-record bass tracks and become a member of the band. I will say this, and this is no knock to Dave Mustaine or anybody. I understand why they done it, and I might even, to a certain extent, support why they done it. But I also have a feeling it was done that way because of the woke society now, and everything is council culture. And so I think they felt that they had to take the best actions that they could. But I will say this, and that's how you know the times have changed and times are different. Because that would have been the 80s or the 90s. That would have been chalked up, oh, well, that's just rock and roll. That's the lifestyle of being, a rock artist or metal artist or whatever. That's basically what they would chop it up to. That's just part of rock and roll. Okay. I mean, if you kind of take a look, you look at Vince Neil, the guy killed somebody in a car wreck and only got 30 days in jail. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? People don't hate him and people still love Motley Crue and Vince Neil and stuff like that. So it's not one of those things where I think that it would have been some kind of death nail in the coffin for Megadeth. I just think with the way society is now and all the council culture and the Me Too movement and all this crazy stuff that's going on, that's why they decided to part ways with David Ellefson. But I don't think it's hurt the band not one bit, because if you listen to the tracks that have been released by Megadeth, they're just killer. And so I think maybe it was time. Maybe it was just time that they moved on and Megadeth kind of start over fresh and new. And this album they got coming out in September, you can tell that Dave is back with a vengeance, and Dave is back um, putting the music out that Megadeth fans want to hear. I know in the last few years, in the last decades or so, that they've put out some albums that some people wasn't too crazy about, and I get that, you know. But I think being a band like Megadeth and been around as long as you have, you went from a very kind of stale palette, which was gunmetal gray, to now you got a more colorful palette. You got a lot of diversity in your albums and your music and in your catalog, and that's not a bad thing. Sometimes you get stagnant if the same thing sounds like the same thing over and over and over again. Like there's some bands out there that continue to do because that's what their fans want, but I guess their fans just don't appreciate diversity in their music. But I hope that you're anticipated as I am about wanting to see the new or listen to the new Megadeth album. Pick it up on vinyl or CD or cassette. Please support the bands by buying physical media, because when you listen on Spotify and stuff, these bands are hardly getting anything for their work. You know, it's these streaming companies are making all the money. The artists aren't the artists aren't hardly getting anything at all. So go out and please support the artist by buying physical media, whether it's the CD, the vinyl, or the cassette. You know, maybe buy a T-shirt or something like that. Just support the band in any way you can, and I hope that you'll agree with me when September drops. September 2nd, this album drops. I cannot wait. I have mine pre-ordered. I have all 3 versions pre-ordered. So, yeah, I think you know how excited I am about this record. So go check out the 2 new songs. Will Be Back and Night Stalkers. They're both on YouTube. You can watch the videos for them. They're actual videos. They're not like lyric videos or anything. They're actually videos of the songs, which are really killer too. So I just cannot wait till this album comes out. And I think Megadeth has overdone themselves again, at least from the 2 tracks that I've heard. So yeah, I honestly think that this may be the best metal album of the year. So go check it out. Thank you. And like I said, support bands by buying physical media. And this is Bill saying out. Have a good day and a blessed day, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.